Hey everybody, hey, welcome to Courage at 44. Today is going to be a good day. Today is going to be a good video. I'm glad y'all are here, and I'm going to walk y'all through what we're going to be doing today. Well, before I jump in, I want to give a disclaimer. If you are a person who has sensitive ears, is a church person, don't like to see people get out of character, or talk about grown folk stuff, then I'm going to give you time to leave the room. Okay, only 2 people left. So the rest of y'all are to the stay. Okay, listen, I appreciate y'all. So we're gonna get into it. I will go ahead and let you know this video is gonna be in several parts. This video is entitled My Love Triangle, Airing Out My Dirty Laundry. I'm gonna say that again. This video is entitled My Love Triangle, Airing Out My Dirty Laundry. Okay, a lot of y'all is gonna be shocked to hear some of this stuff, and I'm okay because this is me airing out my truth. This is all about me living in my car, and I'm sharing my life with you all. Okay, so stay with me to the end. Okay, that'll help me a lot. Let's go. So in 2020, I went through my divorce from a man that I was with for 14 and a half years. After my divorce, I was sick. I was terrible. I was out of pocket. I was angry. I was mad. I was grieving. I was pissed off at men. I didn't want to have shit to do with a man. I'm just gonna let you know right now. So I took that time to go to counseling to get my mental health. You know, I had to heal. I wound up getting in a funk or trying to get out of a funk. Let me say that. Probably about 2022, one of my girlfriends had suggested that I get on a dating site, and I was like hell no. Them people on there be raping people and luring them to foreign countries and behind the bushes and in the woods. No. So I want to pause right there because it's important to add and let the world know that I didn't have a lot of notches under my belt. For the young people who don't know what that mean I didn't have a lot of sex partners. Okay, so getting on a dating site was not my cup of tea because from what I had heard, you get on the website to go get it in, and I mean get it in. So I knew that that's not what I was wanting to do. I was getting on a dating site to meet a nice man, communicate, become friends, and let's see where it goes. Can we lead to a relationship? Can we lead to a whatever comes from it, you know? So anyway, I get on this dating site, and this dating site is called, don't laugh, this dating site is called POF, and that stood for Plenty of Fish. I should have ran like hell once I heard the name of this dating site. Now, it was all kind of other dating sites out there, blackpeoplemeet.com, so many, I can't even remember, okay? But I just remember those. So I get on this website. When I tell y'all, I was not ready for what came. I had men from the first day that I set my profile up. I had men in my inbox, which I guess that's what you do on a dating site. You know, you meet people. So they was in my inbox, blah, 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 and they was snapping it off early. Hey, let's meet so we can FUCK. Hey, I'm at the Red Roof Inn, room number 17. Let's come get it on. And I'm like, no, that's not what we're gonna do here. So block. It was several men like that. I'm saying to myself, where are the good men? Where are the gentlemen? Where are the men that got some sense? I stayed the course. And I will say it was interesting dealing with the different type of men. So over time, I see this guy. Now, I don't know if he came in my inbox or if I went into his inbox. I don't know. So I meet this man. His name is CB. That's the nickname I gave him. Okay, I'm not going to say his real name, but his name is CB. And he was a breath of fresh air. Now, this is the first corner of the triangle, okay? I'm not in a love triangle at this point. This is just the beginning. So he's the first point of the triangle. So, well, actually, I'm the first point. He's the second point, okay? So I met this man, and y'all, I thought he was the nicest man, the most handsome man, just by looking at his pictures. We started talking off the app, and I'm just giving y'all a little bit of the story, but a lot of the story, okay, to kind of build this triangle up. Over time, we started talking, and we would talk for hours. Every day, we would talk for hours. Conversation was interesting. The first thing I realized about him, this man have a New York accent. He got a New York accent, and by me being a down south girl, that shit turned me on. Do you understand? It turned me on. Even to this day, it still turns me on, okay? So I asked him, I said, you got an accent? And he was like, do I? I'm like, yes, you have a, he said, well, I'm from New York. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, where is the towels? Let me wipe myself. So I'm telling y'all the truth. I was so turned on by this man. Okay. So we talking, we getting to know each other. Weeks, months go by, however long. We talking about any and everything up under the sun. The weather, the news, his professional background, my professional background, you know, personal life. Well, over time, I started talking about, do you want a girlfriend, and he told me. Now, one thing I can say, this is one of the most honest men that I have met. Probably the most honest man that I've ever met. Because he stayed consistent. Even to this day, he stays consistent. So I said, what's up with us hooking up? What's up with us, trying to get to a level where we can date, become boyfriend and girlfriend? Well, he made it perfectly clear. I'm not looking for no boyfriend and girlfriend. I hate titles. I went through a divorce. It was a painful divorce. Like, we sharing our personal stories. So I understood where he was coming from, that he did not want a girlfriend. He just was on the app for friends. Now, mind you, he was such a gentleman. He never asked me for sex. And I'm going to get into that. So I'm just falling for this man over time. Again, this was in 2022. So at some point, I'm like, you know what? I know he don't want no girlfriend, but in my mind, I'm thinking I can change him. I can change him. And that's what I'm thinking. So I'm like, you know what? I want to see you. Where you stay? Yeah, because I ain't gonna even lie. I had some dirty shit on my mind. I had some dirty shit on my mind. Okay, so he gave me his address. We set it up. I'm telling him, hey, I'm coming to see you after work, when I get off. So I go to his hometown. He stayed about an hour and a half away. That wasn't bad for me. So I get down there and he let me in. I wind up staying with him 3 days. And we had so much fun. Now, this is where I need to stop and tell y'all, we both got big personalities. Like, he's a man's man. He stands his ground. He call it what it is. And I am a vocal woman. Okay, so I don't know if it was the third day that I was there. I can't remember. But we were talking about a news story on the TV. And we both was giving our opinions. Well, things was getting heated. Tensions was raising. And I was standing my ground because I'm a great debater. And he's not a debater. So I was getting on his damn nerves. I know it. But I didn't know it at that time. All of a sudden, he said, shut the fuck up. And I was like, huh? I can't remember my reaction. I don't know if I was like, oh, is this who you are? Is this who you are? Is this the real you? And what he didn't know was that turned me on. Believe it or not. Now, I've never been in a violent relationship or nothing. But at this moment, I still felt safe with him. Safe with him, even in that moment of his anger. Because I knew where the anger was coming from. I knew I could be a lot. So I just remember us sitting in the front room. And I think neither one of us was talking. And at a certain point, I grabbed my bag and I left. And I will say my feelings was hurt. And me and him done talked about this because that was years ago. And my feelings was hurt. And I'm driving back up the highway. And all I could think about was him. All I could think about was that moment. So anyway, I get back home. I think on the highway, either he called me or I called him. I cannot remember. But I do know we talked about it. And I made it back home. Over time, he became my best friend. I had never had a male best friend other than the man that I was married to. So to this day, he's still my best friend. Okay, as I'm getting back home, I don't know how long went by, maybe weeks, a month or so. At some point, I said, I'm going back down there to fuck him. Just like that. And I started talking about sex with him. And I think I maybe sent a freaky picture or two. I don't know. I just remember at some point, I wanted to see him again. He agreed. We set it up. I went back down to see him. And we kicking it. And I think this time I stayed 2 or 3 days with. We would drink coffee together. We broke bread together. We conversated. I think this was on the first night that I got there. If I remember, I remember saying to myself, to him, I want to suck your thing. And now, of course, I'm just being honest with y'all. This is my love triangle. So I remember saying that to him. And of course, I knew he liked me. I knew I liked him. The only thing, he just didn't want a relationship with nobody. So I remember going over to him. He pulled his pants down. And I remember putting my mouth on it. And in the midst of me doing that, let me pause for a minute. I've always been the type of chick that I'm not having sex with you if you ain't my man. That's just, that's just what it is. So, for me, I thought he was different. Maybe I could break the mold with him. Okay, so as I got my mouth on his thing, literally on my thing, on my tongue, I couldn't do it. Something told me I could not do it. I felt like it wasn't the time. I felt like I wasn't ready. So I remember, I still had my clothes on. So I remember in the front room or wherever we was at, we sat back down, and I remember he said something about, I want to eat it. And I'm like, I'm blushing at that time. I think I still blush now. But he wanted to do oral sex on me, and I remember telling him no. Not that I didn't want to, but again, I didn't feel like it was right. We have always had this burning fire between the two of us. And just to let y'all know, he and I have never had sex, even after all of these years. Now, let me tell y'all where things get crazy. At a certain point, other guys is trying to holler at me. Guys that I work with, guys that live in my city, and by him being my best friend, I would tell him all of this stuff. He did something that, I don't know, I think I'm still upset with him to this day. He encouraged me to date other men, like talk to other men, you know, to get into a relationship, because that's what I really wanted. So it's almost like he pushed me out the door. That's just how I feel. And I would tell him, you know, do you not love me anymore? Like, I always felt like something changed, but there was this man I worked with that really, really, really liked me. Well, I never went along with it because I still loved my best friend. Like, it felt like he was my man. I didn't want nobody else but him. Fast forward, what is this, 2026? So fast forward to 2025. Here's where the third point of that triangle is going to get introduced. So I now have my YouTube page with my living in my car situation. Well, several guys would hit me up through my email on my page. Well, this particular man, who's the third point of the triangle, he hit me up. And y'all, here's where it gets crazy. The beginning of the love triangle. So, that's going to be in part 2. And I hope to see y'all in the next video when I get it uploaded, okay? I hate to leave y'all with a cliffhanger, but I gotta go. You gotta stay tuned to hear part 2. Bye, y'all.